Send it.
I used to know this guy, and during job interviews, he would ask applicants, would you rather fight one bear-sized duck or seven duck-sized bears? And you'd get all kinds of answers, and I don't think he cared what the answer was, you know. I think he just wanted to hear the answer. But I think about that sometimes when I see how big all of these obstacles can be for those of us who just want to get by. You know, we just want to have a fair shake, really, to have an honest to goodness opportunity, which is all anybody wants. We want to feed our families, and we want to kind of relax knowing that they've got opportunity in front of them. Our kids can grow up and buy homes and get an education and raise families of their own and things like that, right? I mean, I got a blue sticker on my windshield. Don't mean I'm so far different from the guy down the road raising goats, right? But we don't talk about the things that are affecting all of us. We talk about the things that the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or the media wants us to talk about. We, the people, most of us didn't want to be sending all the money to Israel before we knew how many people they were killing with our tax dollars. We wanted that money to be used to help people here, right? You cut SNAP, you cut Medicaid, you cut Medicare, and you put more money into missiles so you can attack Iran, so they can use $50,000 drones to take down our $1.2 million missiles, and on it goes. In the meantime, hospitals close. Schools get consolidated. Your health insurance goes up, and Mama can't get that surgery she needs because Medicaid will cover it. Or Medicare or whatever. I don't feel like I'm getting any money for my tax investment. And they telling us Social Security will be insolvent by 2037 or some shit. I'm like, man, I've been paying in that stuff for 50 years, man. What are you talking about? The point is, there's a whole lot of real solvable problem in front of us that nobody's chipping away at, even because they think we don't have a voice. What is it they say? Like, if you're a content creator, if you don't have 1 million followers, you're like a B-list content creator. Dude, I'm down here in the fucking, I don't know, I'm like a Y-list content creator, right? It doesn't matter. I have some things to say. And if you hear them and you listen and you agree with them, yeah, share my video. I'd like some subscribers, sure. But why don't you get out there and say it to people who will listen to you? Because the truth of the matter is, I think we're all seeing the truth of the matter. Democrats ain't coming to save us. Republicans ain't coming to save us. Ain't nobody coming to save working class America. But they don't need to. We're a mountain of nobodies. And we can avalanche down on anybody we choose. We can be the 10 duck-sized bears. That's what we gotta be to make these people act right. Because you forget, even with the military, all of our government altogether doesn't make up 1% of the population. And that means that there are so many of us that just the weight of us alone could suffocate them. We don't want to suffocate them. We want to adjust their behavior. And what we have to do is start talking to each other about the problems that we want solved. We got to start talking to them about the problems we want solved. And when Tom Cotton comes on Facebook and talks about these Chinese vapes that they're importing might have shitty materials in them, but we got to get rid of it. You got to say back, hey, Tom, how come so many hospitals closed in Arkansas during your tenure? Hey, Tom, how come the median wage has stagnated at number 49 in the nation in the state of Arkansas during your tenure? During Republican control of the entire state house of Arkansas, how come our median wage has stagnated at number 49 in the nation? And when you hear Ted Cruz get out there and talk about, well, you know, James Tallarico's not very masculine, remind Ted Cruz that Donald Trump called his wife an ugly dog on national television and he didn't do anything about it. And also ask him, what's his plan for universal health care? Because who gives a shit how masculine Ted Cruz thinks James Tallarico is? What a weird, weird thing to consider worthy of discussion in national politics. When are we going to grow up as a society? Now is the fucking time. When you see a problem and you see a solution, get out on Facebook and type up a paragraph. Tell your buddy at work. Go make a TikTok video. If there are 30 million of us out here with 200 and 300 followers, we're making a difference. And that's what this is all about. Connection, communication, community, resistance to just bad policy, just terrible governance on the part of both of these controlling parties, on the part of the PACs and the wealthy elites who pour money into our government so that they can control it to some degree. But everything has changed. Everything has changed in the world since the last time we had the golden age of, what did they call them? Robber barons? We can't allow that anymore. Everything has changed since World War II. We can't allow Nazis and fascists anymore. We can't allow absolute dictators to really even exist anymore because they are a bad thing for humanity. And the same could be said for billionaires. I got no problem if you have worked your ass off and earned a lot of stuff and you've made yourself a wealthy person. But I promise you, if you were born poor, the only way you're going to die rich is winning the lottery. You know that, and I know that. Wealth is generational. If you don't have any, your kids ain't gonna. And there's nothing wrong with that, really. I mean, I don't care. I doubt many of us are sitting around fantasizing about living in a 5,500 square foot mansion or something. Can you imagine trying to clean that or heat it or cool it, right? That's the practical stuff dads think of. Jesus, where's the thermostat in that place, right? No, we just want to have our place and we want to retire when we're done working and we want to like sit around and smoke pot or go out on a party barge and drink some beer or fish or grow a garden or just play with grandbabies or whatever the hell we want to do, right? We earned that. There are quite a few less of my generation doing that. And quite a few less of the next. And quite a few less of the next. My kids, most of them, feel like they may never own a home. So we failed our children here. Let's be very forthright. Let's be very honest in these conversations. Now we have to fix it. And the best way to measure an economy is whether or not the middle class is growing. There are three factors right now in any community where the middle class is growing. Access to a quality education, access to health care, and access to broadband because information is vital. If you don't have those three things in your community, your middle class isn't growing. But it's also missing some of the vital tools to start growing. Well, that tells me our government knows what needs to be done. Then we got to fix this healthcare problem. We got to fix the access to broadband problem in rural America, and we have to start spending real money on making our education in this nation competitive with the rest of the world. A quality education creates opportunity, prevents crime and poverty in the future, and all of these things that go together to make us what we are. So let's just start there. That's a very simple premise. Hey, fact check that. Here's the 3 things you got to have to grow: education, healthcare, broadband. And then start asking your representatives and your senators and your state legislature where those things are for you. And tell your buddies, tell your coworkers, talk about it. Get on Facebook, type up a rant about it. Post a meme about it on Instagram. Make a TikTok video. And if 35 people watch it, that's 35 people that have been exposed to the information you have. And we become a mountain of nobodies who have altered the conversation. And the truth of the matter is, we need control of this conversation. You got the Larry Ellisons and the I can never remember the Facebook guy's name. Swear to God. He looks like an android, and I always think of Beta from Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm sorry, I'm this dork. But Meta guy, Larry Ellison, these people that are dampening our free speech on these platforms, whether you're left or right, it doesn't matter, right? They want you talking about what they want you talking about, and they want you funneled into the conflicts and the conversations and what you funneled into. But you can just make a video. You can just type up a paragraph that says what you think, what you believe, what you'd like to see better. I'd like to know that my kids can buy a house one day. I'd like to know that my kids have access to education and healthcare. I would like to think that just because I'm a Democrat, and I'm not, but I would like to think that just because I vote Democrat a lot of the time, that you still understand that my problems are your problems and your problems are my problems. I think you know that. I think most people know that. We get wound up, sucked into the hyperbolic conversation, but at the end of the day, we want to be able to just raise our families and rest on what we've earned. And we want our families to be able to go out and be happy and live fulfilling lives too. I mean, it's not complex. Nobody's asking for $1 million a year salary over here. We're just saying that if our dollar today had the same buying power as it did in 1970, we'd be making on average $66 an hour, and we're not. Capitalism needs guardrails, right? Business just can't do whatever it wants. This AI shit's got to get regulated. It's confusing our old people, and honestly, it's making us dumber. We have to put some regulations in place to keep these people from taking power like they just kind of have. Because what they want is in opposition to what we want, because we are the worker bees and they are the honey collectors, right? And we have to take a real look at obstacles that are in the way of the working class for certain things. Like, one of the reasons that you really aren't able to become wealthy anymore is because you got to have money, like real money, you know, real money in our world, not real money in their world, okay? But you got to have almost $30,000 just to apply for a fucking patent anymore. Tell me that's not a feature instead of a bug. Come on. This is the wealthy elite controlling ingenuity. Oh, you've got a great invention there. You can't afford a patent? Well, I'll tell you what. Come on, we got a little program we worked out. Got to put my name on your patent, of course. But, I mean, I'm not making that up. I mean, that's how Elon Musk got all the extra money on top of what he was born with. That's what Peter Thiel has done. It's what all these people do. They're born extremely wealthy and they can buy these businesses, right? But think about what you could do with a quality education, access to all the information in the world. You're secure that if something goes wrong, you can go down here to the clinic or the hospital or whatever. And so what you want to do in front of you is build a better mousetrap or buy a dozen used 3D printers off of Marketplace and make plastic widgets or whatever it is you want to do. There are obstacles in the way of that. And they're there by design. And all of this is to keep the elite up here, which is kind of where they're going to be anyway, right? But it's also to keep a lot of people from taking a step up, and that's not okay. There is no aspect of government obligation that says that they should keep anyone repressed. But we allow it. We allow oppression and repression in this country all the time. And we have stupid arguments like that's not really happening or whatever. You think that all those dudes in the NFL, minimum salary in the NFL, by the way, is $250,000, give or take, a year, right? So you're taking some dude who grew up with absolutely nothing, who busted his ass and made his shit the best, right? Made himself the best athlete he could be. And he's making $250,000 a year. And these people are like, oh, he's kneeling. Oh, that's just bullshit. You know, they're just whining and stuff. First of all, I don't think you can be in the NFL and be any kind of a whiner. I just doubt that fits the program. And second of all, you would risk that much money for some political ploy? Bullshit. I saw those dudes kneeling at the anthem. I thought, what the fuck, man? Holy shit. These guys are serious. This is the first time I really applied any thought to violence on the part of the police in America. You know, I mean, I knew sometimes the police would kick your ass, but I never really thought about it before that. That's some privilege, right? But the point is that we ignore problems, or we allow these politicians to narrate the problem for us, because the police violating the rights of any citizen of this country is not a right or left problem, is it? If there's an actual violation of rights, that's serious. That's a crime against a citizen of this country, right? There's no excuse for a lot of things that just continue to happen in this country. Native American women go missing all the time, and there's not really a statistic on it because they don't know how many are missing, because it's not a federal crime, so the FBI is not going to look into it. And they can't find them on the reservation, so the reservation police don't have any jurisdiction. And the people outside their reservation are like, oh, that's a crime that happened on the reservation. It's nothing to do with us. That's not okay. Wouldn't be okay if it's your kid, right? But we allow it. It's not us, it's an other it's happening to. But the truth of the matter is that healthcare is the same as that. That education is the same as that. Stagnant wages, access to broadband internet, all of it's the same thing. It's the government saying, yeah, we know there's a need down there, but we're busy building missiles and selling shit to other countries so that we can be rich up here. We don't really have time for your silly little problems. But the time has come, my friends, to decide if we are to continue, if we are to become a good place to live, or we're going to continue down this road of left swing, right swing, upswing, downswing, economic bullshit on top of economic bullshit, poverty, lack of health care, lack of education. What do we turn into? A historical footnote? Why would we go that route? I don't want to. You don't want to. I don't want to live like it's a third world. I like my central heat and air and my fucking streaming everything you want to all the time, TV and internet, right? But please understand, if we don't start growing the middle class, if we don't start telling our senators and representatives that we need health care, broadband, quality education, affordable patents, if we don't start telling them to stop exporting so much fuel so we can keep it at a stable price, if we don't start telling them these things, they're never going to start doing them. Because right now they tell us what the issues are and then we go vote accordingly. But I cannot imagine right now, if you're paying almost $5 a gallon for diesel, you give a rat's fucking ass what some trans kid is up to in Oregon right now. I just don't believe you care, right? You want this war to stop. You want them to stop exporting so much diesel so that the price of yours can stabilize, right? I mean, they're not going to do it though, are they? All of this stuff comes down to, what do we know and understand about how this shit works so we can have an intelligent conversation with the people who run it? And we're not informed. We are misinformed, deliberately misinformed at every turn. Mainstream media is crap. Any kind of left or right-leaning media is going to eventually lead you astray or misinform you to sell a point, aren't they? All I know is that elections are always secure unless Donald Trump's afraid he's going to lose one. I know that the people who've been saying this shit in Iran is going to turn into some really expensive stuff for Americans. So far, they've been right about their predictions, and that really worries me about the next few months. I know that something like 18 hospitals have closed in Arkansas since I moved here. I know that the education is nowhere near as strenuous as it was, 100 years ago. The roads are crap. Wages are stagnated. People are tense at best. We are not in a good place right now. As a matter of fact, we have the potential to get in a very, very bad place right after the midterms. But why? None of us, them folks, want that. I don't want to live in a fucking war-torn, civil war-torn country. I don't want to live in an unstable autocracy. I don't want to live in a place where you might get your ass kicked for saying something on Facebook because the government didn't like it, right? You don't either. So let's just fix it. Let's just agree that some money has to be poured into healthcare, education, infrastructure. Let's just agree that somebody else has to supervise the cops, because if there is no problem, cool, that'll show us. If there is a problem, cool, that'll fix it, right? I mean, you can't disagree with that. Hey, if we think somebody outside of the police needs to supervise the police, just to keep them honest, I mean, shit, we kind of need a program like that for politicians too, don't we? Every vocation, maybe. But it is legal sometimes for the police to kill us. And that's that's a very real situation that police can find themselves in. So we have to make sure that it's done within the confines of the law and with the confines of the rights of civilians. I think a lot of really good dudes are cops. But those really good dudes will defend the cops who ain't. Because that's their code. That don't work for me. That don't work for many of us. So we got to change it. Healthcare. Yeah, shit's expensive. Here. Again, we can squeeze the profit motive completely out of healthcare. They've done it in other countries. Education is not a box of cereal. You can't sell it around or swap it for another one, right? Education is education. It has to be good. It has to be relevant to the current global situation. It has to be technologically advanced, and it has to be strenuous, and it has to be built on some very high standards. Infrastructure is the stuff we use daily, man. They don't fix our roads anymore. They don't fix our bridges till they break anymore. How old is the electric grid in your area? And I don't know what to do about the stagnant wages. I mean, these people don't want to pay us. Cool. They're going to have to lower the price of patents so we can make our own opportunities, make our own companies so that there will be competition against these people. And it's not as simple as all that, sure. But we could make it illegal for private equity to be involved in residential real estate. That would lower the price of houses or at least stop it from skyrocketing like it's been doing. All of these are solutions to problems that everyone has. And none of these solutions to these problems are leftist or socialist or MAGA or fascist. They're just solutions to problems. And if you believe that, and if you believe that all of us together could make a difference in how we are all seeing this and how we're all responding to it and who we're going to elect that will listen to us and respond to us and do things in office that actually represent us, I think we can pull ourselves out of this, you know. I really do believe that. Am I willing to unburn some bridges with people who went far right while I was telling them, please don't? It depends on how crazy they told me I was, you know. Because the fact of the matter is that we're expected to just kind of give a forgiveness pass to people who told us we were all insane and that this would be a terrible experience. And right now, while we're having the terrible experience, some of those people are still arguing like you're not having a terrible experience. And I don't know what to tell you, but this is not a stable country anymore. So please forgive me if my forgiveness isn't free-flowing. I've never really been much of a bridge rebuilder. Can I forgive it? Yeah, I can forgive it. You're just as misinformed as the fucking rest of us. Does it piss me off? Oh, yeah. Okay. You don't even have to care about that. Let's put our heads together and solve these problems. Let's get universal health care for our kids and our elderly. Let's get an education for these children that's going to make them a competitor in the workforce when they're grown. Let's find every way we can to increase opportunities in every community that doesn't have a golf course. Share this video. Subscribe to my podcast. But more importantly, go out there and say what you have to say about problems that need to be solved. And stop listening to anybody say, you can't do that in this country. How are you going to say this is the greatest country in the world and tell me all kinds of things I can't do to make it feel great? Right? We all have the same problems, and the solutions don't have anything to do with fascism or socialism, and they don't have anything to do with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. They have everything to do with how we are represented and how they respond to us. If you can't get a hold of your representative, I don't care how much you like them, you should vote them out every time. Their job is to respond to you and to govern in according to your needs. And I'm just done listening to any of them tell me how they're my savior. So let's become that mountain of nobodies. Let's become those 10 duck-sized bears and chew the fucking legs off of these people who are misinforming us, who are just lying to and manipulating our elderly, and who are running this country straight into the dirt, while working class Americans with calluses on their hands are struggling to feed their children. Rich dorks who were born that way with soft hands are taking our liberties from us. This is Nobody Mountain, and I hope you join me. Have a good one.